Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Pole Position Podcast. This is the second to last episode of the season, really. I mean, we're going to be doing some other videos inside, like winter testing and after the season is finished, but in terms of the actual races and the previews and the reviews, this is the second to last. It's the last race of the season, and this is my last preview of the season. It's come around really quickly. I can't believe it, the last race. We're in Abu Dhabi. At the Yas Marina circuit, round 21 of the year, and I'm just going to be hoping that the race goes out and ends the season in style, really. I mean, we've had some fantastic races this season, Germany and Brazil, and hopefully Abu Dhabi can put a little bit of flair and a bit of spice to finish off the season, put the cherry on top of the cake. So this is a couple of news and a bit of preview going into the last race at Abu Dhabi. So one of the main news stories of the week is that Honda will power Red Bull and Toro Rosso in 2021. Now, there was a lot of debate. Obviously, they're all sorted for next season and getting the car ready, probably already halfway through finishing the car for next year already. But there was some doubt whether Honda would continue into the seasons after, and they have agreed to extend their deal for one more year into 2021. Now, there was talks a few months back that maybe Aston Martin would come in, would already partner in Red Bull, and maybe they would come in and think about doing engines for Formula One. That could still happen in 2022 because this is only a one-year extension deal. So Honda have agreed to extend 3 wins and 5 podiums since joining Red Bull and Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso and Honda have been together since 2018, and that was sort of like the first season where Red Bull was checking them out and seeing whether they were good for their car, and obviously Red Bull have had them for this season in 2019. Both delighted, both sides, Honda and Red Bull, delighted to confirm the news that they're extending this deal. And I think Honda have really impressed since coming into Red Bull, and Toro Rosso as well, and I think it's sort of improved everybody's thoughts about Honda. I mean, when they were at McLaren and they came back and it wasn't working, it just wasn't working. Both McLaren fans and Honda fans were sort of saying that this isn't going well. They're not. There's no progression going on. The car's not very good. The power unit keeps failing, and I just think it was some sad times. They were sort of butting heads on both sides, and since they've come to Red Bull, it just seems like a much more relaxed atmosphere. It's like, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's not put any pressure on the situation, and let's just see what happens. And ultimately, I think they've done a fantastic job. They were debating whether to extend after next season. But agreeing that extra deal, I think, is good. I mean, obviously, we already know as well in the 2021 season that McLaren will actually be being engine supplied by Mercedes. So Renault the Renault engine is only there for next season. So they've only had 2 seasons with Renault. So that sort of says something as well, doesn't it? But that was announced. Is it in the Russian Grand Prix this year that Mercedes will power McLaren for 2021? So we know Honda will be powering Red Bull and Toro Rosso, and we know that Mercedes will be powering McLaren in the 2021 season. So, that's a bit of main news that's come out this week. That was a bit early on in the weekend, or the week coming up to this weekend. More major news is that we actually have a finalised driver lineup for next year. There was talk that the last seat obviously was the Williams seat. There was talk a few months ago whether Hülkenberg would be in that seat, but it's been announced that Nicholas Latifi will be the driver in that Williams car for next season, making his F1 debut. Now, the 24-year-old Canadian will replace Robert Kubica, who we know obviously halfway through the season decided that this would just be it. I don't know whether that's because of the performance of the car, which has been seriously terrible, with only 1 point this season, and that was in Germany, where there was absolute chaos and anybody could have got a point in that race. But yes, Latifi's already taken part in 6 practice sessions this season for Williams, and it's a very young driver lineup for next year. George Russell's only just done his first full season, or after this race weekend will have just done his first F1 season. Latifi will be coming in from Formula 2, And yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to see how two young drivers fare in that team for next year. And obviously, we hope that Williams are a lot better. I mean, they can't get any worse, but let's hope they're a lot better than they have been this season. Latifi said, "I'm thrilled to be stepping up as a race driver for 2020. I've enjoyed working with the team this year, and it'll be exciting to get to Australia in 2020 next year." Claire Williams, Deputy Team Principal, I'm delighted to announce Latifi as the driver. Now, it's interesting that Williams always leave it so late. I mean, last year it was after Abu Dhabi testing, after the season had finished, until they announced Kubica would be there to replace Sorokin and Stroll, and Russell as well, sorry. But yeah, it's interesting that they always leave it till last minute. But yeah, again, let's just hope Latifi does well for next year. Obviously, Robert Kubica, we know he was leaving anyway. There's talk of him maybe doing is it DTM and being a test driver for Force Williams. Goodness me, be a test driver for Racing Point or Haas. Both of them are looking at options to maybe keep Kubica on in F1 in some form or another. So yeah, that will be interesting to see that one. A little bit of news as well. Is that Valtteri Bottas will start at the back of the grid come Sunday. They've had to replace parts from his DNF in Brazil, and they've decided to change three major parts actually: the actual engine, the internal combustion engine, the turbocharger, and the MGU-H. So he's had a complete, almost new car really in the sense of the mechanics. And funny enough, the stat, he'd been the only driver on the grid not to get a grid penalty this season until now. Last race of the season, Valtteri, you could have just waited a little bit longer. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. He was going to be at the top in my terms of pole position and stuff like that in my predictions, but after finding that out this morning when I was just doing the last minute notes, yeah, he's definitely not going to be up there for the pole position predictions now, because will they even bother to get him up there if they know he's going to start at the back of the grid? I think he's got a 19-place grid penalty because of the components he's changed. So yeah, I'm not sure whether they'll even bother with that. But yeah, so Valtteri Bottas will start at the back of the grid come Sunday. We also have the possibility that this is the last race in F1 for Nico Hülkenberg. Now, Nico Hülkenberg has been one of my favourite drivers since he came into the sport. He just seems a really down-to-earth guy, and I feel really sorry for him that he hasn't been able to achieve what everybody sets out to do in Formula One. You know, get a podium, win a race, you know, fight for a championship, have a car that can do that. And I think Hülkenberg's been really unlucky in the sense that he hasn't had that chance. You know, he's done so well with that Renault team when he joined, and obviously he's had drivers before him in Jolyon Palmer, Carlos Sainz. All of them have moved on, but Hülkenberg has been the one to stay and keep evolving with the team. And yeah, now they've decided to move to Esteban Ocon, and I know Ocon is an up and coming driver. He's a decent driver, but for me, I don't know, it's just a real shame that you're losing somebody like Nico Hülkenberg. I think Hülkenberg and Ricciardo was a good partnership, and I think it'll be a shame for him to leave the sport. Obviously, Latifi's took the Williams seat. I'm not sure Hülkenberg wanted that. I think if he wants to be in F1, he wants to be going up the order, not down, and you know where Williams are this season. If they can improve, obviously, you know, I don't know how far improvement that'll be, but I'm not sure Hülkenberg wanted to do that, so he's taken a year out. He said who knows what's going to happen in future years. They've done a great interview with him on the F1 YouTube channel and obviously on the F1 website. So if you want to see more about what Nico Hülkenberg thinks, check that out. It's really good. And it'll just be a shame, you know. I'd love him to have a good last race of the season. There's already talks that everyone wants to vote him driver of the day. I mean, he might crash out on the first lap. We don't know. It might not what happened in Abu Dhabi last year, where he flipped over from a collision with Grosjean, and that was the first couple of laps. But yeah, everyone's saying give him driver of the day, give him, you know, something to leave the sport with. But yeah, you know, Renault obviously need good points results to secure 5th position in the constructors, because Toro Rosso are only 8 points away and obviously could do that. So, you know, Renault is under pressure in terms of that, so they want a good result from both their drivers. Cyril Abitbol said, Hulkenberg's contribution has been instrumental into our reconstruction of the team, and that's great and everything. But I just think it's a real shame that we are losing Nico Hulkenberg for next year. I mean, I know we've been saying that for a couple of years now. We've lost decent drivers. We lost Fernando Alonso last year. This weekend last year was his last race, and to lose Nico Hulkenberg as well is a real shame for me, because I think he's fantastic. And also, like I've already mentioned, we're losing Robert Kubica, and he's proud of his season in F1. And I think he should be. I think defying people who said he couldn't make it back into the sport, he has done that. He has secured the only point of the season for the team. And I don't know what qualifying was like. I think the qualifying prediction is an absolute annihilation from George Russell. I think was it like 18-1 or is it 19-0? I'm not sure. So it can't be 19-0. It must be 20-0. It's something like that. I'm not sure what the specific qualifying battle is, but I'm pretty sure Russell has easily won that. But I think Kubica should be proud. He's obviously looking at being a support driver for next year, as well as doing other things. And I think he set out what he needed to do, get back into the sport, and he's done a tremendous job. Well done to Robert Kubica, and I hope we see him around the paddock in the near future. Just quickly before I go on to my predictions. Pre-season testing 2020 tickets are available right now in the Barcelona Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, February the 19th to the 21st and the 26th to the 28th. Now I'm actually looking to go to that. I think that would be amazing to go to testing. Never been to testing before, so I might be looking to go to that. So that would be really interesting to see. So because I just saw the tickets were available this week, and I thought, Christ, we haven't even got the season out of the way. And we're already looking at testing tickets. But 6th consecutive year that the venues hosted the pre-season test before the first race in Melbourne. And so if you want to go to pre-season testing in Barcelona, hopefully the weather's nicer. It snowed a couple of years ago, didn't it? And was it raining last year or something like that? So let's hope it's nice weather, especially if I want to go. I want to take my shorts and my sunglasses. It's February. It should be a little bit warmer than it is here in the UK. Pre-season testing tickets are available. I'm rambling on right now. So in terms of my predictions, I actually wrote Valtteri Bottas for pole, so I should use my pen right now and scribble that out. And I also put in possibility for the win. I thought in terms of drivers, I thought Bottas would beat Hamilton in Abu Dhabi, but I'm not sure that's going to happen now, considering he's starting all the way at the back. So I think in terms of pole position, I'm going to go with Max Verstappen. I went for Max Verstappen last race in Brazil, and obviously I won that. Can't believe that either. And I think for race win, I'll give it to Verstappen as well. I think I'm not sure. I think it depends on their progress and how they fare in the Yas Marina circuit. But I think Verstappen. I mean, I'm going to go out there. It's the last race of the season. I might as well say something like that. Maybe the Ferraris will be faster this race, and maybe the Mercedes of Hamilton will be as well. But I think pole position and race win will go to Max Verstappen. So let's see come my review whether I'm right or not. Probably not. So that's my preview for the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi. I just want to say a fantastic to everybody. I can't believe how many people have looked at the last video I did, the review of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Over 130 views. I think, considering I've only just started this back up in September, October, it's amazing to have that many people watching and people liking and a few comments on the video as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching these. It's been great the last few months to go back and do this. I know there was a bit of a break during the season, but I've really enjoyed doing these more often. I will be doing a review of the last race in Abu Dhabi, and I will try and do some videos over the winter as well, talking about the driver lineups for next year, going in a bit more depth. Maybe doing like an award show where I say, who I think the best driver's been, the best team, the best circuit, things like that. I'm going to try and do as many videos over the winter as I can. I want to keep this channel going. I want to update my website that I've done. I did a blog site as well. I want to try and update that for over the winter for next season. So I've got a few things lined up. But thank you very much for watching these videos. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode for the review of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So thank you very much. Let's hope the race is good.